Hey there. Hope you're doing well. So, yesterday I was doing economics research on my own, and I've taken three finance classes during my time in high school. There's a required class that you have to take, and I took that. And then I also took two other classes that weren't required, but I took them anyways because I thought I was interested in finance, which I am. But I would say throughout all three of these classes, I retained probably like 10% of the information. I never learned what a 401k was. I never learned what a Roth IRA was. I never learned all of this stuff in three classes. So that was like 3 years of my life essentially trying to learn this stuff, and I didn't. And then yesterday, I was just doing research on my own, and I learned so much more. Like, I was able to plan out exactly what I wanted to do, the exact accounts I wanted to open during certain parts of my life. And I feel like I gained so much more knowledge in like the 5 hours that I was researching than in like the multiple months I had all of these classes. And it was cool, but it also kind of pissed me off because I spent years thinking I wasn't learning enough, right? Years thinking, I am interested in this stuff, but why can't I learn it? And I do want to go into college and into higher education, going deeper into finance. But I remember thinking after 3 years of taking courses, is finance just not for me? Because in my free time, I love thinking about finance and like how things can influence markets, and all the concepts always seem so cool to me. But if I'm being honest, the classes always seemed like a drag, and assignments for me were just things to finish. And I think there was a big lesson in that, which is that you can only ever learn something if you're interested in it, and you have to let your curiosity guide you on just anything you want to do. I spent multiple months doing extremely tedious projects that were supposed to teach me about market supply and demand and how all these things change. And I learned all the graphs like that you had to know, and what all the different lines on the graph meant, like short run, long run, all this stuff. And I would memorize these formulas. I would memorize how to make these graphs up, and I would memorize like if the question asked this, then answer like this. And although I got good grades doing that, I only ever understood it just enough to pass. And after every unit test or after the exams, I would instantly forget all of that knowledge. And it made me realize that for me, a lot of what I thought was learning was just memorization to get a good grade. And that type of learning is so detrimental, not just from an academic standpoint, where if you take more advanced classes, you're recommended or you're expected to have known all that information before going in there. And if you've forgotten it all, you're kind of cooked. But also in the sense that if you're just trying to be successful, right? Like knowing how markets work is just a skill that's useful to know if you want to learn how to invest properly or invest efficiently. So forgetting that information and having to relearn it is a waste of time, essentially, right? If you just learned it right the first time, then you would be fine. And I think there's a big lesson in how motivation, there's a lot of talk, right, about if you want to learn something or if you want to be great, it's all about discipline. And I agree with that a bit, right? Once you have a goal in mind, the person who puts in the most work will be the most successful. If Joe Smith is working 5 hours a week and Johnny Smith is working 8 hours a week, Johnny Smith will be more successful based off of hours, right? But I think what people fail to add to that is you have to genuinely be interested in what you're disciplined at, right? So even if you want to be a successful, like, let's say you want to be a successful podcaster, right? You can be super disciplined in it, and you can follow your checklist every single day. Like, okay, today, I'm scripting, and then I'm going to record, and I'm going to edit, and then boom, upload. Like, you can follow your outline of what to do, and that is discipline. And you do that even when you're not motivated. But if you're genuinely interested in podcasting, I think even if you put in like half the amount of hours, you will be far more successful, because you will care so much more about your videos, and you will just edit them so much better. And every day when you work, you will not care about, oh my goodness, 3 hours have passed already, I have to finish this up, because you will let yourself work longer because you're genuinely interested. When I was doing economics assignments, and one of the classes is a virtual class, right? And so you have to take all the tests, whenever you're free. Those moments where if I spent more than an hour on a test, I would think to myself, oh my goodness, I'm wasting so much time right now. And I could have been spending this time doing, this other work, or this other thing that I'm interested in. But yesterday I was spending like 5 hours doing my research, and I did not care. I felt fulfilled. I felt happy. And most importantly, I felt like I actually learned something that mattered to me. And that feeling is irreplaceable, right? So, yes, be disciplined, and yes, train discipline. But before you even start thinking about discipline, know that you have to be interested. There will be times where when you work on the thing, you won't always enjoy podcasting. I don't think you can enjoy any activity for multiple months consecutively, right? If you write every single day, which I love writing in my free time, and I love the practice of writing, but I don't go into every writing session with the mindset of this is the best thing in the world, right? There will be moments where you don't like doing certain things, but if you keep the interest in them, you will be okay. I think being interested in something and liking something are very different. You can dislike something but still be interested in it, right? Let's say you don't like painting, right? I suck at painting. I know for one, art has always been my worst skill, but I'm still interested in going to museums and looking at art and thinking about what art represents. That facet of visual arts is still very captivating to me, even though I dislike drawing myself. So it all ties back to that idea of you learn so much more when you're doing something that you're passionate about. I think it's such a cliche, right? I think our parents tell us this, our teachers tell us this. Before you leave to college, every adult in your vicinity will tell you this, right? Do something you're interested in, do something you're passionate about. And sometimes you won't know straight away, right? Some people go to college undecided, and that's okay. But take the time to find out what you're interested in, explore, learn about different things in the world, and you will eventually find something that you can devote hours to and feel fulfilled. I promise you. There are millions of things in this world. It can be something niche, it doesn't even have to be something popular. You can do something niche and be interested in it, and that interest will guide you so much farther than just barrel wagoning on something popular that you're not actually interested in, but you think you will understand, or you think it will help you, right? Like, you can say whatever you want about people who do majors like history and classics, but I think the truth is that if someone goes into those majors with genuine interest and a genuine intention to learn and grow in those fields and a genuine passion, they will be more successful than someone who does 4 years in a finance degree but is not interested in finance and is just learning to pass, right? If you go through 4 years of your life simply memorizing content to get good grades, by the end of those 4 years, you will have a degree, you will have a diploma, but it is almost as if you didn't go in there at all because you did not learn. That's really what I wanted to talk about today. I think so much of our life now is pointed on this idea that we have to learn more and do more, but the truth is we're not always interested in everything that we're forced to learn. I know in high school, a big trend right now is kids have to take more classes, right? There's these kids who are taking like 15 classes, and it's not to learn, it's to get into college. But I worry that having that mindset of more is better only leads you down a very dangerous path of thinking that learning is something that is on the back heel and it should not be on the forefront of your mind. When you do so many things that aren't actually interesting to you, what actually is captivating to you is pushed so far away that you then have to scrummage through everything that you've placed in front of you to get to that thing behind it. It's like a forest, and you've planted so many trees that don't actually interest you. You love cherry blossoms, but you did not plant cherry blossoms. But so now you have to go through the leaves of all of these trees that, quite frankly, you don't care about to get to cherry blossoms that you want. So yeah, find things you're interested in, do things that you're interested in, and before you study anything, before you tackle anything, ask yourself, why does this thing matter to me? Because if you can answer that honestly, everything gets better. Everything gets easier, and you'll be able to make better moves. A lot of love. I see you guys in the next one. Peace.